Guys, we finally did it. It finally happened. We've just seen Lord of the Ring.
My God, wasn't Lord of the Ring really interesting?
It really was very interesting.
So, Ravi, let's just jump straight into it. What did you think of the story? All right.
So the story is Vijay's character. No, scratch all of this.
Yeah.
Guys, this was the single most insane experience we've ever had at any cinema for any film ever.
Yeah.
Full stop. If we could summarize this review in like 5 seconds, it would just be
It was absolutely like that. I mean, I'm actually glad that you actually haven't got into the story yet, because we need to address the Vijay cheerleaders. Everyone in the cinema was going crazy, and it's just madness because, like you said, we've never experienced anything like that.
Guys, we sat down and for no reason, it was a blank screen and the film was about to start and people just went insane. They were standing up on chairs, jumping up and down. Like, never, ever. I mean,
never.
It was like being at a sporting event and someone's just scored a goal.
I'm surprised that the security didn't come in and tell everyone to shut up.
Yeah.
Because it was just mad.
So look, it was insane. It made the experience special, and we both have mixed feelings. But let's jump into the movie, because that's what we're here to talk about, and the story. So it's a very, very typical story, right? Vijay plays a character from a village. The village is always under siege by the demons. So Vijay, whose childhood love, I guess, comes back to the village, gets taken by the demons. So Vijay, being the hero of the village, has to go and save her. And he goes on the most ludicrous, stupid, ridiculous quest to go and get her back, which takes him to the little people, the giant turtle, and the evil kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't something original. We've seen this so many times before. This is just delivered in a very crazy way. And I mean, when I say crazy, I don't actually necessarily mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
I just mean it felt like a bit of a mishmash of everything thrown into one. A bit of Lord of the Rings, a bit of the story of Moses, a bit of something else. And, you know, the thing that you guys know that I love fantasy films.
It's his favourite genre.
Yeah, I love it. And unfortunately, this just didn't deliver when it came to story, because I saw a bit of Vampire Diaries in it and I saw a bit of everything else in it. So it would have been nice to have a story that was just unique and very different.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the big problem with the story was the inconsistencies. So let me put it to you this way, guys. If the love of your life happened to look like Shruti Hassan, who, by the way, looked really nice in the film, and she was only really in it for the first half, and she had some great little dance numbers, she had great outfits, she was there to look good, and she did that very well. If she was taken by an evil overlord and an evil queen, and was about to be, and the story is that she's going to be sacrificed on a day.
Spoiler.
Kind of. So he has to save her before this happens. Would you stop to just have random dances with random people and just have a big feast with, again, people that are just completely random?
No, right.
And the inconsistency of the story was he's supposed to be this great hero, but at the same time he's a bit of a clown, too much of a clown to be taken seriously as someone that's going to go save. So there was no suspense. There was never a feeling that there was any kind of urgency or tension in the story, and it needed that, because otherwise there was no motivation.
Yeah, it did, but then there was moments, all right, because the film felt like it was just playing with you, all right? And what I mean by that is that when we talk about tension and suspense, there's a few moments in the film where you think, okay, is this a serious film? Because there was that bit in the village when he goes back, right? Yeah, and all that. It felt, and he's looking around, and there's all this chaos around him, and that was a very serious moment. And the moment he accepts the quest, that felt very serious to us. But then it just turned into a bit of a comedy.
Yeah, he started having hallucinations where he was basically doing dances. I have to address this. I mean, the story, guys, I think you get the picture, right? It was just a bit all over the place. It was funny, or trying to be funny when it shouldn't have been. It was being serious, which didn't make sense because it wasn't funny, and didn't carry off any of the emotional bits very well either. There are, and now bear in mind, we were reading subtitles. This film had more sexual innuendos than I've ever seen in any film. Either the scriptwriter was really, really horny when he was writing this. Vijay has control of the script, was super horny when he was like contributing to it and acting it out. Or the director is a teenager going through puberty right now. Because there were lines that were basically like, you have these statuesque legs, I can't wait for you to part them, right? Lines like that. Or, I'm going to show you the light with my magic wand. Things like that. So, all the way through, you just couldn't take any of it seriously, and it wanted you to.
That's funny you say that, because I've never actually seen Ravi spit out his strawberry milkshake, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a few, just spitting it out constantly. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you, right? He's like, are you reading this? Are you actually reading what they're saying? Or are you just fucking watching the film, like, and not reading the subtitles? But it wasn't just Ravi. There was a dude running right next to us who was also putting his hands on his face, right? Thinking to himself, what the heck are they saying in this song?
Yeah. So there was this point, I was drinking a milkshake, and Vijay made this face, and it just came out, because it was that ridiculous, that funny.
Let's look at Vijay's performance in the film and the supporting cast around him. Now, I just feel that Vijay, as an actor, I don't know what possessed him to take this script, but he just wasn't tested in this film in any way whatsoever. Now, this is our very first Vijay film.
Yep.
So we're expecting quite a bit, because he's got a massive following, people love him off, and we want to be a part of that. But we're yet to see the performance in this that we were hoping for to blow us away about Vijay, damn, you are an amazing actor. We didn't see that.
No, you're right, I agree. There was no point where I thought, do you know what, you've been just right. You were funny enough, or you were character enough. It was all a bit over the top. Imagine pantomime theatre. If anyone knows what that is, I mean, it's a very kind of over the top caricature, cartoon style theatre. That's how he was through the whole film. And it's interesting you say about him choosing the script. I think there's a good chance that it was a joint decision, because of the kind of money that's behind this film. He must have been supporting it in a big way. So, we all know that it had a really short time scale, that it went from 0 to nothing in about a year, which is a very short time. And you could see that because the CGI was all over the place. Sometimes it was okay, and sometimes it was just terrible.
Yeah.
But Vijay, I can't say that this convinced us that he's superstar status. But hey, I know there are other films like Tupaki and stuff that you guys have
Well,
seen.
absolutely. There are other films, and I think it's important for us as Bollyfools to go and check out those other films to actually appreciate his performance like you guys do. Now, what did you think about the supporting cast around him? Shruti Haasan, you had Sridevi. I mean, what did you think about their performance?
So he had the main ones like Sridevi, Shruti Hassan, they were fine, right? Shruti Hassan served her purpose. This is the second film we've seen of hers in the last few weeks, right? Welcome Back and this. She's got a long way to go to be a good actress.
Yeah.
But when she's got to play this role, she's a great dancer, she's good looking, and she's very vibrant on screen. She captures the eye and the attention. So she played her purpose well enough. Sridevi was awesome.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right.
Yeah.
You said she aged very well. She was brilliant.
This is the first time I've ever seen Sridevi in this role, and I think I would have thought for Sridevi it's going to be I actually felt for a little while, to be honest, it might be a slightly difficult role for her to take on, but she did it pretty well. I didn't feel at any point, Sridevi, you cannot act like a creepy, messed up witch, but you did a frigging good job of doing that. So, like, kudos to you.
Yeah, and the others, Sudeep, Hansika Motwani, they were fine. They were good. Sudeep was good as the bad guy. He's got the look, so it's fine. I liked bits and pieces of the other characters in the village as well. So like his father figure in the film, he was quite good in his moments.
Yeah.
Shruti Hassan's father was quite good in his moments. I think the two guys that were following him around were a little bit too
much
obvious, a bit too over the top. So and Vijay was already being over the top, so that kind of tells you how far they were going. But good enough. Good enough. Good enough to support.
Now you touched on the special effects, guys. Look, if you don't know, Peter Jackson, when it comes down to visual effects, is like my favorite director. I'm a massive fan of his work. I got to say, whether you have 6 months for a film, 1 year for a film, 5 years for a film, whatever your budget, if you cannot deliver visual effects in the right way, it's better just to stay away from it, because if they're not done in the way that they should be done, it's going to make you giggle, it's going to make you laugh, and it's going to make you take the piss out of the film. And unfortunately, there were a number of moments where the visual effects were just all over the place. So
there are some people that think it's a panda. In fact, it's not a panda. There was a particular animal that was a bit obvious.
Did somebody say panda?
Someone out there thinks it's a panda.
Oh right, okay. So actually, it's a panther.
It is a panther.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's this scene where this panther comes along. I'm not going to ruin it for you guys.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah, but it just looks. It looks like it doesn't look real in any way whatsoever. It just looked like someone had mishmashed it together with very little visual effects experience, and I do apologize to you if you're watching this, but I've got to say it just looked wrong. There's no point in playing around with visual effects if you're not going to nail it, because people like us and in the West, they're just going to giggle at it.
Yeah, and so guys, look, we haven't really touched on it, and I don't know whether it's fair or not to do so. Don't know too much about the director, Chimbu Devan. Don't know too much about him.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, isn't his genre, isn't he mainly focused in fantasy? That's what I've heard. And do correct us if I'm wrong, that's what I've heard.
I don't know, but he wrote it as well, right? So he wrote and directed this, so it's kind of like his piece from beginning to end. We've already talked about how the story was bad. The script, based on the translation, was really poor. There was some really, really bad dialogue. The directing was bad too.
Yeah.
There was no real creativity. In fact, there was some really poor framing. There was really poor framing where the actor on scene was just out of it didn't seem very well thought out. It seemed rushed.
Now you're always talking about colour.
Yeah.
The colour palette of a movie, that's very, very important. To you, to me, we it has to look in a certain way. Now, because of the visual effects were bad, the color palette was also all over the place. It just didn't feel like how a film should look. It just didn't feel like it. And as a result, you're constantly thrown out. You're more actually excited about the next time the cheerleaders are going to celebrate, all right, rather than the actual film and the way it looked or what was happening in the movie. And I also want to talk about the pacing. The pacing was all over the place. It just one minute he's taken on this voyage, next minute he's at the evil Empress castle, next minute he's having a dance scene, next minute he's dancing with the bad guy. What the hell, guys?
Guys, there's a scene with Vijay and Sudeep and there's dancing. It's actually worth watching just to see that scene. You know what you're right about the editing and the pacing. It reminds me of the first half of Bahubali, where it was ba-bang, ba-bang, to jump, and the second half sorted itself out in Bahubali, and this it never did. It just kept hopping around all over the place. And guys, look, we were really looking forward to this. We wanted it to be great. It fell short in a lot of ways. We've mentioned it a few times, right? Sometimes you go to the cinema and you go because you always go to the cinema for the film, but sometimes there's an experience around it, and the experience saved Puli here. The Tamil fans, the South Indian crew, saved Puli for us, because if we had to sit through that for 3 hours or 2 hours and 35 minutes with intermission, without that cheerleader group, we would have been a lot worse on this film. We ended up enjoying it because we were sharing this kind of all these emotions. Their joy was rubbing off on us a little bit. So we were able to forgive a hell of a lot in this film. We both really enjoyed the music. We both enjoyed the score. Very good items, quote unquote. And you talked about some of the background work as well. It was really nice.
Yeah. The music in the film, especially two numbers, we actually enjoyed them so much they were playing it on the way back home. Well, we're trying to play it on the way back home. But just adding on to what you just said, if it wasn't for the audience, the people that we were watching it with, I think this film would have, maybe we might have just walked out halfway through. But saying that, the film is so crazy that you kind of want to know what's going to happen, because it is so crazy. Because there was a point where I said to you in the cinema, dude, shall we go? And Ravi said, listen, we've got 15 minutes. Like, wherever this is going to take us, we might as well see it all the way through. And we did, because it was just so wild. And guys, and that's what it comes down to, is, we don't do kind of scores or ratings or whatever. We'll both summarise it in a second, but I think we both agree, if you catch it this week and you haven't had that kind of experience before with Vijay films or Tamil films or whatever, which most of you have, but if you want that kind of fun, that joy, go and check it out, because there is so much insanity and stupidity, and actually sometimes films are so bad they end up good. This is one of those films. It's pretty bad for all the right reasons you would normally watch a film, but we both laughed. We both thought, what the hell? There was a couple of times we're in the cinema, we both came forward going, what just happened? Not because it was good, but because it was stupid. But we both walked away and thinking, actually, do you know what? We're going to remember that, and it was kind of enjoyable as an experience. I think that's beautifully put. We will actually remember this. I think out of all the films that we've watched, as an experience, I think this is the one that we're walking away with, and we know that we had a crazy time, not because of the film, but mainly, a bit of everything, if you like. And it's embedded now within our subconscious, and we're walking away with this film with a bit of joy, with a bit of love, if you like. Although it's weird because we didn't enjoy the film.
Exactly. And guys, I think that pretty much leaves it there for the film, right? But we also want to say, I think we talked about it. We were walking out of the cinema, and we had this mental time anyway, and we'd had a couple of little engagements here and there. We want to shout out to Priyanka. Priyanka was brave enough. We had a few people talking and speaking, saying, is that the guys from Body Falls and what have you. But Priyanka was brave enough to come up and from behind say, hey, are you guys from Body Falls?
No, she said, are you Body Falls?
Are you Body Falls?
Are you Body Falls? That's what she said.
That's what okay, so she said, are you Body Falls?
And then she corrected herself.
And we turned around, and there she was, and she was an absolute sweetheart. We took a couple of photos with her, and I think she was just going to tweet them out or whatever. But she's also a photographer by trade, so check out, we're going to put some links below, Priyanka J Photography. Priyanka, big shout out to you, thank you for coming up to us. And it's really sweet of you. You took your brothers to watch the film, they were big Vijay fans. You sacrificed yourself by saying you weren't a massive Vijay fan.
That's what I was going to say. That's what we were talking about on the way back before. It was an amazing treat for you to take your brothers to the cinema, although you're, as Ravi said, you're not a fan. But, and we saw some of your work. Amazing work.
Some great photography. Guys, you should check it out. Down below, we'll put the Instagram links and everything else. So check that out. But guys, look, if you ever do see us around
don't
London,
be shy.
just come up and say hello.
Give us a hug. Welcome back.
Yeah, we will. But look, I think that brings it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, unless you want to sum it up with anything special, unless you've got something crazy to throw in.
I think I don't have anything crazy to put in. I just think that You know, Vijay is one hell of a character.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, I will never forget those cheers and those hoops and those hollers and all of that for as long as I can remember films and experience.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
As long as I can remember.
Yeah. I'm gonna sum it up by saying, guys, just only what we said before, that if you can find the showing this week, and you can find a screen that is absolutely packed like we did, go watch it. And the reason go watch it is because you're gonna experience something that you may never would never have experienced in your life. So check it just for the experience alone. However, if you're gonna watch it by yourself or in a screen where there's a few people, you could wait until it hits DVD.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that is Puli, and that's our review.
Peace out.
Take care.